To avoid a loveless arranged marriage, I ran away from home and ended up scavenging a roommate under a bridge, a struggling live streamer who was just as down on her luck as I was. She always bragged about being the daughter of the richest man in the city, so I played along, claiming I was the Prince of New York, heir to a billion-dollar empire. We squeezed into a 500-square-foot basement apartment, splitting a single pack of ramen noodles, swearing to fight this screwed-up destiny together. But time was up. My family had issued the final ultimatum: come back and marry the girl, or be cut off forever. We decided to show our cards to each other, bring our destitute partner home, and discussed those snobbish elders. Before leaving, I pulled out my black card. Actually, I really am a billionaire heir. Come home with me. No one will dare touch you. She pulled out a property deed. Actually, I'm a Sinclair heiress. Come home with me. My dad listens to me. The result? She slapped my black card onto the ramen cup to seal the lid, and I used her property deed as a coaster for my beer. We held each other and cried, both convinced the other was delusional from stress. For this desperate love, I steel my heart. Even if they broke my legs, I would never let go of this crazy girl's hand. The light bulb in the rental flickered with an ominous buzz. On the table, a cup of spicy ramen steamed. Our last supper. Ava Sinclair sniffled, picking up the only soft-boiled egg and dropping it into my bowl. Caleb, eat up. Tomorrow at my place, they might not even give you a glass of water. Her eyes were red and puffy. I looked at that egg, feeling a lump in my throat, so painful I could hardly swallow. 10 minutes ago, my burner phone, which only had 5 contacts, rang. It was Henderson, the family butler, his voice icy. Mr. Sterling, your father says you must return to the estate by 8:00 p.m. tomorrow to meet Miss Sinclair. Otherwise, all accounts remain frozen, and you are no longer Sterling. I hung up, only to find Ava hiding in the bathroom, begging in her phone. Dad, I won't marry that playboy wastrel. I have a boyfriend. Please, just don't hurt him. I'll bring him home tomorrow, so you can see him. We were like 2 lambs being led to slaughter, sacrificed on the altar of family interests. I didn't want her to know how scared I was. I reached into my pocket and touched the cold metal of the Centurion card. I'd swiped it when I ran away. It wasn't activated, but if I surrendered, this card could buy half of Manhattan. Ava, I slammed the black card on the table, trying to sound confident. I'm not actually poor. I am Caleb Sterling. This card has no limit. Tomorrow, we throw it in your dad's face and tell him to shut up. Ava paused, picking up the heavy titanium card. She examined it, then burst into a tearful laugh. Caleb, you idiot. Wiping her eyes, she peeled the backing off the card. It was a protective film I hadn't removed and slapped it over the hole in the ramen lid. This sticker is sturdy. Perfect, the lid wouldn't stay down. My heart seized. She didn't believe me. And why would she? I was wearing a $20 t-shirt from a discount site, living in a leaking basement. If I said I was the Prince of New York, even a dog wouldn't believe me. She thought I was role-playing to comfort her. All right, stop acting. Ava sniffled, digging a crumpled savings book from under her pillow. This is my secret stash. $3,000. I was going to buy a better camera for my stream. She shoved the book into my hand, her fingertips ice cold. If things go south tomorrow, take the money and run. Run as far as you can. I looked at the pitiful number, then at her hands, rough from manual labor, hidden under cheap press-on nails she'd filed herself to save money. I'm a grown man, but my nose stung with tears. She was a Sinclair heiress. I was the Sterling heir. To hell with these delusions. We were just 2 rats in the sewer, huddling together for warmth in a cruel world. I grabbed her hand and squeezed it tight. I'm not running. I gritted my teeth. Tomorrow, we go to your house. If your dad tries to force you to marry, we elope. The next morning, just as the sky turned gray, Ava dragged me out of bed and hauled me to 5th Avenue. I refused to go. Just breathing the air in those stores cost money. Ava, we don't need this, I said, gripping the railing outside the department store. Let's go to a thrift store, find a decent shirt, really. Ava glared at me, fierce as a kitten protecting its food. Caleb Sterling, listen to me. We might lose the war, but we won't lose the battle of appearances. She pried my fingers off the rail and dragged me into the Armani boutique. The sales associate looked us up and down, rolled her eyes, and turned back to cleaning the glass. Her gaze felt like needles. Ava ignored her, marching straight to a charcoal gray suit. Price tag, $800. I gasped and tried to pull her away, but she was already holding it against me. Try it on. She shoved me into the fitting room with surprising strength. I put it on. Broad shoulders, tapered waist, I looked like $1 million. But looking in the mirror only made me panic. Where was the money coming from? That $3,000 wouldn't even cover the cufflinks. When I walked out nervously, Ava was at the register, punching in a pin. Her hands were shaking, her face pale. Approved. The sales associate handed her the receipt, her attitude doing a 180. I looked at Ava, confused, until my eyes locked on her left wrist. It was bare. The vintage diamond tennis bracelet she wore yesterday, the one she said was her grandmother's only legacy, the one she'd never take off, was gone. Where's the bracelet? I grabbed her wrist, my voice trembling. Ava looked away, hiding her hand behind her back. Oh, I left it at home. The diamonds were cloudy. It's embarrassing to wear. Bullshit. That bracelet was flawless. Even I knew it was worth a fortune. She sold her heirloom. To buy me a skin I'd wear once. My throat felt like it was stuffed with cotton soaked in vinegar. I was garbage. A grown man relying on a woman selling her dowry to save face. Caleb, you look good. Ava fixed my tie, her eyes red, but her smile bright. Like a fallen prince. I closed my eyes, forcing back tears. Idiot, I whispered. In the future, even if I have to sell a kidney, I'll buy you a room full of diamonds. We left the store with no money for a cab. Dressed in a high-end suit and a knockoff gown, we squeezed onto a bus headed for the wealthy suburbs. People stared at us like we were escaped mental patients. Ava clung to my arm, resting her head on my shoulder. Caleb, I'm not scared, she whispered. As long as you're here, I'll walk into the lion's den. I clenched my fist and texted my assistant. I need all liquid assets mobilized in 10 minutes. The screen flashed. Message failed. Insufficient funds. My phone plan had been cut off. Despair rose like a tide. This time, we really had to fight for our lives. The Sinclair estate was in Greenwich. The Uber driver dropped us at the gate, refusing to go up the private drive because security was intense. We walked. The asphalt was smooth enough to see your reflection, lined with ancient oaks. The closer we got, the heavier the oppressive atmosphere became. After 30 minutes, we saw the magnificent wrought iron gates. 2 rows of security guards in black suits stood at attention, looking more intimidating than the Secret Service. My heart hammered. Would they even let us in? Ava stopped, took a deep breath like she was marching to the gallows, and stepped forward. Before she could speak, the head guard took off his sunglasses, saluted her, and the gates swung open. I was stunned. The security here was this lax? Ava turned to me with a bitter smile. I used to deliver DoorDash in this neighborhood. They recognized me. I believed her, and it hurt even more. Delivering food here, seeing the wealth inside. How inferior must she have felt? Walking into the estate felt like walking on money. The fountain featured marble statues. The lawn was manicured with scissors. The main house was a mansion that screamed old money. Caleb. Ava stopped, smoothing a wrinkle on my suit. Her palms were sweating. No matter what they say later, don't believe them. Don't take it to heart. Her voice trembled. If they try to pay you off to leave, take the money and go. Don't worry about me. Looking at her terrified face, a fire ignited in my chest. What kind of parents push their daughter to this point? I'm not leaving. I enclose her hand in mine, sharing my warmth. If they humiliate you, I'll flip the table and take you away. We don't need this trashy dynasty. We reached the main doors. Before we entered, we heard the clatter of poker chips and a woman's laughter. The casual joy contrasted sharply with our funeral march mood. A butler in a tuxedo opened the door. He scanned us with X-ray vision, eyes holding a mix of surprise and disdain. The young miss is back, he said coldly, not even inviting us in. Master and Madam are waiting in the drawing room. This was the intimidation tactic. I pulled Ava behind me and stepped over the threshold, chest out. I'd imagined 1,000 scenarios where the rich parents humiliated the poor boy. But I swore if anyone touched a hair on Ava's head, I'd fight to the death. The drawing room was absurdly large, the crystal chandelier blinding. On the sofa sat a middle-aged couple radiating wealth. The man held a fine china teacup. The woman was slowly peeling a grape. Ava's parents. Seeing us, Mr. Sinclair set down his cup, his eyes sharp as a hawk's. The room temperature dropped to freezing. Ava stiffened, shrinking behind me. You know how to come back? Thought you could run wild and avoid the engagement? Mrs. Sinclair sneered, tossing a grape skin into a gold trash can. Ava's eyes reddened. Mom, Silence. Mr. Sinclair barked. Who told you to bring trash into my house? You're dirtying the carpet. Trash. The word was a slap in the face. But I didn't feel pain, only anger. Anger for Ava. This was her home? This was hell. I took a deep breath, stepping forward to shield the trembling Ava completely. Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair, I'm the one who abducted Ava. I met her father's murderous gaze. Direct your anger at me. Leave her out of it. Mr. Sinclair raised an eyebrow, seemingly surprised by my guts. But the disdain in his eyes grew. You? How will you support her? He pointed at my suit. With the clothes she paid for? Or with your non-existent career? Every word stomped on my insecurities. But I couldn't retreat. I have no money right now, I announced, my voice filling the hall. But I'm young, and I have hands. I won't let anyone, including you, force her into something she hates. As long as I breathe, no one treats her like a commodity for a merger. Big talk. Mr. Sinclair slammed the table, rattling the teacups. Without money, what is love? Will you pay with your life? Yes, I'll pay with my life. The blood rushed to my head. I didn't care anymore. I pulled out the black card, the one Ava had used as a noodle lid stopper. It still had a speck of dried soup on it. Slap. I slammed the card onto the priceless mahogany coffee table. There's 200 million on this card. I roared, eyes burning. It might not buy a bathroom in your eyes, but it's a down payment. As long as you cancel the marriage, my life belongs to the Sinclairs. I just want her freedom. Dead silence. Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair stared at the soup-stained black card with bizarre expressions, like they were looking at an alien, or try not to laugh until they burst. Ava tugged my jacket, crying, Caleb, are you crazy? It's just a sticker. It was over. I was a joke. But I kept my chin up, staring down her father. Mr. Sinclair picked up the card with 2 fingers. He held it to the light, then flicked it with a fingernail. Ding! The heavy metallic sound rang out. I swallowed, waiting for the storm. Would they mock me? Throw me out? The corner of Mr. Sinclair's mouth twitched. This sticker, he drawled, is very realistic. It even has a chip. Ava jumped in front of me. Dad, it's just a toy he bought. He has an active imagination. Don't hold it against him. She was frantic. I was more frantic. Why hide it now? Ava, don't be scared. It's real. Just as I was about to explain how to activate it, Mrs. Sinclair laughed. A chillingly benevolent laugh. All right. She waved her hand and actually poured me a cup of tea. Young man, you have ambition. Better than those trust fund kids who only know how to spend. I was confused. This wasn't the script. Where was the here's a check, get out? Mr. Sinclair dropped the killer aura, shifting into neighborly dad mode. Since that's the case, we won't be the villains. As long as you pass our test, the marriage arrangement can be discussed. A test? What test? I'll do anything. Mr. Sinclair glanced at me. The test is stay for dinner. That was it. I sat at the 5-meter-long dining table, suspicious. Servants brought out silver platters. I expected lobster. Instead, preserved vegetables. Just pickles and roots. In the center was a small plate of plain boiled cabbage. Mrs. Sinclair enthusiastically put a black, shriveled root in my bowl. Here, eat up. This is the best we have. I chewed. It was earthy, with a strange, pungent truffle aroma. But I felt only pity. These rich people were stingy. No wonder Ava ran away. They wouldn't even serve meat. Ava, thinking they were humiliating my poverty, went pale. She dumped the entire plate of cabbage into my bowl and glared at her father. Eat, she gritted out. Ignore them. I quietly moved half the cabbage back to her bowl. You eat too. You're too thin. I swore to myself, when I got my inheritance, we'd eat steak every night. After dinner, Mr. Sinclair called me into the study. I braced for the payoff attempt. Instead, he asked, if Ava had nothing, would you still marry her? Even if she were a beggar, I'd marry her. He stared at me for a full minute, then sighed, waving me out. Was that sympathy in his eyes? That night, I stayed in the guest room. Ava snuck in at midnight with 2 cups of ramen. Hungry, she set them on the antique nightstand. I knew that dinner wouldn't fill you up. I was touched. Ava, is your family in trouble? Ava paused, then seized the narrative. Yeah, you noticed? The Sinclair Group is bankrupt. These antiques are fakes to keep up appearances. That's why Dad is so desperate to sell me off. It all made sense. The pickles, the tolerance of my fake card. This wealth was a hollow shell. Don't be scared. I hugged her. The marriage is definitely off then. It's a fire pit. Tomorrow, I'm taking you away. If all else fails, I'll go back to the Sterlings. Ava stiffened. Caleb, don't talk crazy. I know you're comforting me, but I believe you. She still thought I was bluffing. But I was serious. Even if the old man broke my legs, I'd take the hit for her. Outside the door, her parents were eavesdropping, shaking with silent laughter. That kid is funny. Mr. Sinclair whispered. That pickle was a vintage black truffle worth 2 grand a bite. And he called the Ming Dynasty vase a fake. The next morning, we escaped. Standing at the bottom of the hill, I took a deep breath. Ava, come home with me. My family is simpler, but my parents are nice. She nodded solemnly. As long as it's not under a bridge, I'm fine. I called an Uber, actually a beat-up sedan arranged by Henderson to look inconspicuous. We drove to the Upper East Side, to a row of historic, pre-war brownstones. It looked old and weathered from the outside. Ava looked at the faded brick. Caleb, isn't this a historic district? Yeah, ancestral home. Never renovated. No elevator. Conditions are a bit rough. To a modern billionaire used to penthouses, this walk-up was primitive. Ava squeezed my hand. It's okay. I like the character. We stopped at townhouse. No guards, just two old men playing chess on the stoop. Actually, martial arts masters hired by my dad. Mom, I'm home. I called out as we entered the private garden. My mom was feeding koi fish, wearing a faded dress that was actually a vintage Chanel custom piece. Seeing Ava, her eyes lit up like high beams. Oh, is this the girl? She rushed over. So pretty. Better than the foe. I mean, my imagination. Ava bowed. Mrs. Stedink, I'm Ava. I don't mind that Caleb is poor. We'll pay off his debts together. My mom almost choked laughing, pinching her thigh to stop. Good child. My dad walked out wearing an undershirt and holding a fly swatter. Since you're here, help out. He pointed to the pond. Feed the fish. Those carp haven't eaten in days. I panicked. Those were $1 million prize koi. But Mom winked at me. Lunch was served in the garden. Homegrown veggies. Dad claimed it was Michelin star vegan cuisine, but presented rustically. Ava ate a piece of mushroom, abalone. Delicious. Caleb, eat. Halfway through, I couldn't take it. I pulled out the black card again and gave it to Dad. Dad, I know it's frozen, but try it. I don't want Ava to suffer. Dad took the card and used it to scrape dirt off the table. Good plastic, sturdy. He tossed it into the fish food bucket. Ava squeezed my hand under the table, her eyes saying, Your dad is delusional too. After lunch, my parents whispered together. Dad slapped his knee. Since you two are in love, let's meet her parents. Tomorrow noon, at the Plaza Hotel. Dad, we can't afford that. It's okay. Date leet. I have a Groupon. The next day at noon, the Plaza Hotel, private imperial suite. Ava and I stood at the door, dressed in our fraudulent finery, trembling like two soldiers entering a firing squad. Ava gripped my hand so hard her nails dug into my flesh. Ready? I took a deep breath, preparing to push open the gates of hell. Yeah, Ava bit her lip. If we D, we D. We pushed the doors open. The expected standoff didn't happen. No shouting, no guards. Instead, the atmosphere was weirdly harmonious. Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair and Mr. and Mrs. Sterling were sitting around a large round table, chatting and laughing. My dad was holding Ava's property deed. Her dad was holding my black card. They were admiring them. The craftsmanship is excellent, Mr. Sinclair praised. This fake deed. The seal looks so real, my dad agreed. Seeing us enter, all four parents turned, wearing identical expressions of amusement. I froze. Ava froze. Dad? Mom? Ava tentatively called out. Before I could process, my body moved into protective mode. I stepped between Ava and my father. Mr. Sinclair, don't bully my dad. Come at me. Simultaneously, Ava shouted, Dad, if you touch Mr. Sterling, I'll run away forever. The room was silent for 3 seconds. Then it exploded with laughter. The parents were doubled over, wiping tears from their eyes. My dad pointed at the bewildered Ava. Son, is this the spoiled Princess Disease Sinclair heiress you refused to marry? My brain buzzed. Mrs. Sinclair pointed at me, shaking with laughter. Daughter, is this the good-for-nothing playboy Sterling heir you swore you'd never marry? Ava and I slowly turned to look at each other. In that instant, I heard my worldview shatter. The shared ramen, the humble pickles, the vow on the roof. It was all a misunderstanding. I looked at Ava, my voice dry. Your deed is real. Ava stared at me wide-eyed. Your black card isn't a sticker. A full minute of dead silence. We stood there like idiots blowing in the wind. We were the clowns. The red wedding turned into a family reunion. Ava and I slumped in chairs, feeling like we were hallucinating. Her dad tossed the black card back to me, along with the secondary card. Go spend. If the dowry isn't enough, add more. My dad put the diamond bracelet back on Ava's wrist. No need to sell it. We aren't short on cash. Ava blushed red as a tomato. I was so embarrassed I could have dug a tunnel to China with my toes. All our tragic drama. Poor, but in love, fighting the establishment, was just two monkeys performing for an audience. The marriage was settled on the spot. Unanimous vote. Only the two of us were struggling with the lies. Liar. Leaving the hotel, Ava stomped on my foot, eyes smiling. Prince of New York, huh? You act pretty well. Right back at you. I rubbed my foot, shoving the black card into her bag. Eris Sinclair deserves an Oscar. To revenge the deception, we went on a spree. I bought out a floor of the department store. She bought the limited edition supercar I'd been eyeing. That afternoon, the city's GDP spiked. But when night fell, we didn't go to a Michelin restaurant. We drove the new supercar back to the leaking basement apartment. Surrounded by luxury shopping bags, Ava boiled water and made 2 cups of spicy ramen. This tastes right. She slurped the noodles, sighing with satisfaction. I sat opposite her, looking at this billionaire girl who loved instant noodles. My heart melted. Yeah, I drank the soup. Caviar pasta has no soul. This is the good stuff. We smiled at each other. In this tiny room, backed by billions, we finally found our true selves. 6 months later, the wedding of the century shocked the city. Headlines screamed, "Runaways find true love, the ultimate merger." The wedding was lavish, attended by every celebrity and tycoon. But at the ring exchange, there was a hiccup. When the officiant presented the multi-million-dollar pink diamond, I didn't take it. I pulled out a ring made from soda, Kintab. I'd made it that desperate night in the apartment, promising to replace it later. Ava, I knelt, holding the aluminum tab. I have plenty of diamond rings, but this ring is the only one in the world. It witnessed our courage to fight the world when we had nothing. Ava cried, ruining her makeup. She held out her hand, letting me slide the tab on her finger. The guests looked confused, wondering if the sterlings had gone broke. Only the 4 parents at the head table applauded with red eyes. Married life wasn't a boring fairy tale. We moved into a massive estate, but the staff soon realized the young couple had quirks. We liked to put cheap bamboo mats on the Italian leather sofas for airflow. We stockpiled discount eggs in the wine cellar for freshness. We even drove the supercar to the farmer's market to haggle over 50 cents with vendors. One night, I held Ava looking out at the city lights. "Wife," I asked, "if we hadn't run away and just did the arranged marriage, what would have happened?" Ava traced circles on my chest. We would have been polite, qualified business partners. She looked up, eyes shining. But we never would have known that the other person could love us so much even when we were down to our last dollar. I smiled and kissed her. By the way, Ava pushed me away suddenly. "Ribs are half off at the supermarket tomorrow. Did you set the alarm?" Set it. I rolled over, pinning her down. "But before that, let's handle some important business." Outside, the moonlight was gentle. This was our love. Story complete part 2, Mandatory Separators.